This type here, Yerushalmi Pesachim. We're supposed to be doing Tav Mem Beis Amud Aleph in the article Osvar edition, but let's start from the third line from the bottom of Mem Aleph Amud Beis, which is the beginning of the sugya, which in the Vilna is on Lamed Vav Amud Beis. Starting from the top, 6 lines down. So Rabbi Shimon in the Mishnah had said that you chayev on Erev Pesach losing shchar chometz dam zivchi only for the korban pesach itself. But chol moed chayev any korban. On shchita chometz. And the question is what the difference is. On Rabbi Yochanan time Rabbi Shimon, the reason for Rabbi Shimon is kasav echad oimer. One pasuk says lo tishchat chometz dam zivchi. That's one pasuk, and another pasuk kasav echad oimer lo tizbach al chometz dam zivchi. So Echad Pesach Bar Basar. So this means both the Pesach itself on the 14th day, but only the Pesach. Echad Sharkos Vachim and or other korbanos. Not Korban Pesach, it's Korban Pesach. And if you've done it, I didn't call Moed the same Pesach is possible. But Echad Sharkos Vachim B'Chol Shemoed. Maris or B'Chol Shemoed who have been Otzim Mir Basar. Okay, fine. Why why you're not being mechayev other korbanos on the 14th as well? It's just like you're mechayev in Chol Moed. So after the pasuk is marbe and the pasuk is memait. So let's see the Moshe on this. Achar shriba kosu miet the bekra kama lotis bach siv stam. First part just says lotis bach. Umash b'shar zvachim kamken bichlal was include other zvachim as well. V'kra the los tishchat sibe zevach harabesach. The pasuk of when it says los tishchat, it says zevach harabesach. Again, miet shar zvachim, which includes other korbanos. So I include from the pasuk of lo tizbach l'shar zvachim chol shemoed. Diesh bo ganke lad by motzei. I'm going to be marba them in chol moed when there's an additional prohibition by motzei. And I preclude them from Yudalit. Shena by by Matzah, where when Yudalit by Matzah does not yet apply, as you shall see momentarily. So let's see inside. I include other korbanos chol moed shu by matzah, and there's the additional prohibition by matzah. Motzi and mir boss and preclude them from the 14th. Shein by matzah when there is no by matzah, and asya is going kaida maray money like Meir said. Meir amar misheshos samal midivrem. And Meir holds until nightfall. There's no by matzah with the raisa. After 6 hours in the afternoon of Pesach, it's still only the rabbana. Amra Lohen Tichsiv Zevach Chag Pesach Arba Sanu Kaimim. So the Korban 8 says Amra Mona Chule Bol Taritz Lombe B'Moed B'Pesach Lishmo Patzer. Why Chol Moed Pesach Lishmo Patzer? Ksiv Lo Tishchad Chometz Dam Zivchi Lo Liam Boker Zevach Chag Pesach. Right, so it seems to go that the Lo Shchar Chometz Dam Zivchi is Torah Pesach. That's the end of the pasuk. Lo Yolina Boker Zevach Pesach. So why Pesach and Chol Moed is Potter? Kachmar the Hod Yichsiv Zevach Pesach Hani Budalet Dafka. No, it's only on the 14th. The Oz Mikra is Zevach Pesach, because then it's called Zevach Pesach, because then it's legitimately brought as a Pesach. Mashiach b'Moed, the only way to bring it as a Moed on Chol Moed is have Shabbat Shlomim. Can't come as a legitimate Pesach on Pesach itself. So let's see inside. It says Zevach Pesach. It's got to be on the 14th day, not during Chol Moed, because during Chol Moed it can't come as Korban Pesach. Can't Korban Pesach. It's possible, as we said before. Rabbi Yochanan said Chabura Hisa Maksha. Interesting language. The Chabura in the base Medrash asked the question. Final question. Manakayami. What are we talking about? That it says b'moed on Chol Moed. If you shechted the Korban Pesach lishmo your potter, shet shelo lishmo your chayev. Im b'sh'ava v'nimtza kohen kapora. If you lost it and you found it before kapora, you lost it before Pesach, and you found it before Pesach. Ben lishmo, ben shelo lishmo. Whether it's lishmo or shelo lishmo. It's puzzle. Even though it says here kosher in the Gemara, Korban and Pnei Moshe both changed it to puzzle. And it is actually been severed from its status as Korban Pesach, and it has to go out to graze till it gets a mum. The Korban was actually in the Vilna as a type on the Korban. It says Avad with an ayin. Okay, so I assume they fixed in the article. They're both extant, right? Erev Pesach. Ben Lishmo Ben Shlishmo Posel V'Nitak Liya. Dochit Nan Kamon. This is going to learn later on. Ben Mishra Tomer Rabbi Akiva Nia Fresh. HaPeshim Tzakon Shchitas HaPesach. If he's found the lost Pesach before, and he said it after he said it, so it's second Pesach. It's before the Shchitas HaPesach. So the first Pesach has to go out to graze. It's possible it has to go out to graze. It can't be Korban Pesach. It's you have to wait to get to mum and then redeem it. So it can't have been brought as a shlomim. But if it got lost, the first kapara, then it's found after kapara. Ben lishmo ben shelo lishmo, it's kosher. Whether it's lishmo or shelo lishmo, it's kosher. Shlomimu. That in that case, according to that Mishnah later on, that if you find it after you already did the Korban Pesach, it's not a Pesach. It can't be a Pesach by definition, because you already did a Korban Pesach. So therefore, this is a Shlomim by definition, and it's whether it's Lishmo, it's Shlomim. So on our Mishnah, distinguish between a Pesach Lishmo and a Pesach Shelo Lishmo. A Pesach Lishmo and Chol Moed Potter. And a Pesach Lishmo and Chol Moed Chayiv for Shechting and Chometz. Doesn't work out. That's a question here, right? The Chabura's question. Because if it's Avad and Nimtza Koden Kapora, Ben Lishmo, Ben Lishmo, it's Apostle, right? And therefore, since it's a Apostle, there's not going to be any Chiyuv, right? No matter what. Whether you do Lishmo. And if you found it after Kapora, Ben Lishmo, it's kosher. So therefore, you're going to be chayiv no matter what on lo sishlat. So where's the difference between lishmo and shelo lishmo? Where's we have such a difference? V'kimna. So we sustained that distinction in the following case. B'shenit ma bailim. And the order became tummy. Oshe zidu. Or they, in other words, they said that they weren't able to do the Korban Pesach, or deliberately. They even if they literally missed Pesach Rishon, right? Therefore it's nidcha Pesach Sheni. It's nidcha in this case for Pesach Sheni. So it still retains the Shem Korban Pesach unless you okir it by Terech Shlo Lishmo. So therefore, if you shech Lishmo, Lishmo Potter, Lishmo Potter, Vu Posel. Because it's possible, because it's a Korban Pesach. It's supposed to be brought Pesach Sheni, and you brought on during Chol Moed Pesach Rishon. It's possible, and you're parted from Lo Tishla Chometz Dam Zivchi. It says Korban says Lo Yikivosa B'Yudal V'Stomach Pesach Sheni Kai He'll Lishmo Potter the possible V'Shelo Lishmo. But you're okay at Shem Pesach from it. You're chayiv, because then it's shlomim, and it's legitimate shlomim to be shlomim to be chol moed, so it's korban kosher, and then you're over on it on lo tishel chometz dam zivchi. Okay, lishmo pater uvu pasel. It's as if it says lishmo pasel hu pater. It's they come together here. Shlo lishmo chayiv bu kosher. I mean, it's going to be kosher, so therefore you're chayiv on lo tishel chometz dam zivchi. Very often, like Yerushalmi, we have the kind of like what we would consider backwards from the Bav's perspective, but that's the way they talked, right? The Lishmo is Potter Uposel, as if it's saying Lishmo is Posel, and therefore it's Potter. The Lishmo is Chayiv B'Kosher, and the Lishmo is Kosher, and therefore he's Chayiv. Okay, so in the next line, I see the article changes gears, and before I have inside my Gemara, which of course I wrote many years before the article came out, that it's most partially like they go in Ephraim, who changed the gears. So now Gemara has V'Haidu Lishmo. Says you're Potter in the Vilna and in the Ozwa Hadar, but in the art scroll he changed it to like the Ephraim to Chayev. So Vaidinu Lishmo Chayev. In other words, how do you have a scenario that in Chol Moed you share the same Pesach and you're still going to be Chayev because of Lo Shchal Chometz Dam Sivchi? So where does it have its scenario? Tamar Ein Mishem Rav Chisda b'shavar shnas ben Rishon l'Sheni. So then in Chutz La'aretz above it, they say Rav Chisda when it became, it went from its first year, the animal, into its second year of life between Beis Rishon and Beis Sheni. In other words, left out between Beis Rishon and Beis Sheni, but during Chol Hamoed. In other words, Korban Pesach is only kosher during his first year of the lamb or goat's life. And so even the Bailim, in this case, even the owner did not do Pesach Rishon. The Mechuyah do Pesach Sheni. It's not royal Pesach because it's more than a year old. Therefore, even without Akira, it's by definition not a Korban Pesach. So even though you did it Lishmo, the Shem Pesach, you're still Chai because it's not a Korban Pesach by definition. By definition, it's Shlomim. So you sacrifice a Shlomim, Shem Pesach, which is a kosher Shlomim. So therefore, you're over. Okay, it's interesting that the Ephraim points out that not sure if this is his own himself speaking or he's saying this conclusion of the Gemara. He says if it was not over Shnaso, even the Bailim already did a Pesach, it requires Akira, and you would be potter if you did it Lishmo. Yeah, it seems from that's the Ephraim's own addition here. That's the Pol Yotze ramification of this Gemara. Okay, he does bring down here that Tosis and Daf Samach Beis, the Imas Rabbi Yeshua says that over Shnoso doesn't require Akira, like the Yerushalmi is saying here. Okay, Rabbi Lo B'Shem Yochanan said B'Shavar Zman Kaparosoi. So he's saying it's about where the Bailim already did it with Korban Pesach, and he's saying that he's arguing. So that's why obviously that's why the Ephraim said that according to the first opinion, according to Rav Chisda, Arba Shnoso is the hinge, and if not over Shnoso, even the Bailim made a Korban Pesach, it requires an Akira. And if they weren't okay, Lishmo, it's potter. And Rabbi Yochanan disagrees. Rabbi Yochanan says the hinge is whether Niskapu Bailim or not over Shnaso. So if Niskapu Bailim and in order to make Pesach Sheni, then it's Akir Mimela. And even sacrifice Shem Pesach on Chol Hamoed, you're going to be Chayiv. Yeah. And that's why even though I was about to repeat myself, it's not necessary. Evidently, he holds that the hinge is not over Shnoso, but whether the Bailim is Niskaper or not Niskaper. Okay, so Agmar goes on to talk about a different issue. Pesach Ibris Mani, Pesach with Avras Mani. In other words, it's more than a year old before Pesach begins. V'shachto Lishmo is Mano, but you shechted l'shein Korban Pesach on Erev Pesach. Shachat achein lishmo bizmano, or you shechted one of the other karbanos, l'shem Pesach, on Yudalid, not any other karban which is not a Korban Pesach. Eliezer Posel, Eliezer says it's possible. Shochet Shua says it's kosher. Eliezer says a possible karban. And Rabbi Shua says it's a kosher korban. And the more explains, Rabbi Lezer Pesach Shu K'Shoichet Pesach Shem Shlomim. And the Korban explains K'Shoichet Pesach Shlomim the body possible. If you shech the Pesach Shem Shlomim on Erev Pesach, it's possible as B'Shech Lishmoker like we said previously in the parak. Hu Adin was the last parak. Hu Adin Shlomim Sheshach Lishmon possible. So the converse is true as well. Just like a Pesach, Shech L'Shem Shlomim on Erev Pesach is possible, so to Shlomim, Shech L'Shem Pesach on Erev Pesach is possible as well. Rabbi Shua is Machshir because he says, Shu K'Shoich Shlomim Shem Pesach, Shech L'Shem Shem Pesach the rest of the year. Shech L'Shem Shem Pesach the rest of the year, it's fine. Right? The Shlomim Shech L'Shem is possible. Right? Mikay which over Zman Lo Shania, and this Korban, right, which is not initially, is not suitably a Korban Pesach, either because it was over Shnoso. So it's like it's as if you shechted the rest of the year. It has no affinity to Erev Pesach. nice lumdus, right? No finny there Pesach, so therefore it's like Shechli and Shlomi Shem Pesach the day before, right? It's just it's the fact that it's Pesach is coincidental. It's not suitable to be called Pesach. And it says kosher both directions. Since over so who has shoichet Pesach Shem B'Shlamim? If you check the Pesach, which is possible, Shem Shlamim, Hashosh Shlamim Pesach, you check the Shlamim, which are again they're other karbonos that weren't meant to be Pesach. And Shem Pesach, the fact that it's Erev Pesach is coincidental. It doesn't make a difference. It's not Milo Morid. They're going to be kosher. It's the same like the rest of the year. Ephraim changes the girsa here. The article changes the girsa. I don't think we have to change the girsa. I think it worked out the same the way we said it without changing the girsa. But I'll tell you what the what they do change, even though I don't think it's necessary to change. And the reason they changed is because they learned that there's a shach of a tire here. That Mikevon begins a question, and then the al daite is an answer. But I'm going to learn this like Lev Yerushalmi. That's all one long explanation and not a question answer, because I don't really see it as a question answer. But because the way the gears going to come back way to Gilad Ephraim and others change it is became Shavas Mano below Bishanya. Here Shoichet they take out the word Pesach l'shem Shlamim. Here Shoichet and they go with Shlamim l'shem Pesach. It doesn't make a difference. But again, the article I see also like Leib Shleim does not learn it's a question. But many others learn it is a question. But I don't think you have to change the gear. So I don't think you have to take out the first take out the word Pesach between Shoichet Pesach l'shem Shlamim, or take out the word Shlamim between Shoichet Shlamim l'shem Pesach. I think you just leave it as is, like we explained it before. So, and now the Gemara says, I'll die to Chisda based on what we said before. And we're going to Ephraim again here has an elaboration of this, which I don't think is necessary. The article brings down a footnote without Leib Yerushalmi and the article in the text itself. Just go to learn it very straight up. I'll die to Rabbi Chisda b'shavar shnasa b'rishon l'sheni. I'll die to Chisda will tell you about this whole discussion between Rabbi Shua and Rabbi Elazar. It's about b'shavar shnasa, right? And but Rishon l'sheni is lav dafka, obviously, because avar shnasa between last year and this year, right? But I'll die to Rabbi Law, but according to Rabbi Law and Rabbi Yochanan, that's not the, like we said before, a few lines ago, that's not the issue here. We're talking about even where love Rosh Naso. If it says b'shavas ma'kaprosa, whether niskaper ba'acher, not niskaper ba'acher, and then of course you have this discussion between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yeshua. So according to Rabbi Elazar, it still retains a Shem Pesach, and therefore, if you shechted it. Shechted lishmo after you already were miskaper ba'acher, right? So then, or you slaughtered others for the shame Pesach after you miskaper ba'acher, so it's possible, right? Whereas according to Rabbi Yoshua, since no, it already lost its status as a Pesach because you were in miskaper ba'acher, and therefore it has no affinity to Erev Pesach whatsoever, and therefore it's just like a Shlomi Sheshach Shlo Lishmon, and therefore Shlomi Sheshach L'Shem Pesach the rest of the year, and therefore it's a kosher korban. Let me correct that a little bit. That last time I make, let's look at Reb Chaim, and he makes the point that according to Rabbi Elazar, even if it's l'shitaso, even Shlomi L'Shem Pesach, it's possible. In other words, it could be and the skaper if it's during the skaper ba'acher, yeah, it says it has a Shlomim, but according to Rabbi Elazar, Shlomi L'Shem Pesach on Erev Pesach is possible, just like Pesach Shlomi is possible, so Shlomi L'Shem Pesach is possible. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, in fact, but when the skaper ba'acher, it becomes taka Shlomim. It doesn't retain Shem Pesach. It becomes a Shlomim. But still, it's possible because of what that reflexive shita he had, that just like Pesach, Shem Shlom is possible, Shlomi Shem Pesach is also possible. Whereas Rabbi Yeshua holds, no, Shlomi Shem Pesach and Erev Pesach is no different than Shlomi Shlo the rest of the year, because there's no affinity to Korban Pesach. Wasn't designated Korban Pesach. Can't be Korban Pesach when it's Kaper Bacher, so therefore it retains its kashrus as a shlamim. Okay, halacha a pace nishla b'shalosh kitos. Based on shecht in 3 groups. Shem Rav Shachta so called Kadas Yisrael, Kahal Aida b'Yisrael. 3 different groups. Nishchita. Word nishchita here. Yeah, it's taken out. The article takes it out. The word nishchita. It's superfluous. In the Vilna, I'm not sure why they left it in. I don't see anybody fixes it, actually. It shouldn't be here. Okay, so I had to. It's to be shown that's so called Yisrael, called Yisrael. The word nishchita, like I said in the article, is taken out. Even the text itself. Yeah, even the text itself, they put in parentheses. Okay, so. Yeah, the first group comes in, Nismal Azara, and the Azara becomes full. Nolo Dosas Azara. They lock the doors of the Azara. Toku V'Yirvi Toku. They do Tkiya Chua Tkiya. Kohanim Omdim Shur requirements stand in rows, relays. They had pictures of silver and pictures of gold for transporting the blood. Shur Shakula Kesef of a row which is completely silver is completely silver. Shur Shakula Zav, completely gold is completely gold. V'loyimu Ravin, they didn't mix the together because of the Hitter mitzvah. I was going to speak about it. These pictures they hold did not have flat bottoms. Because they're afraid they're going to put them down on the ground, and then until while they're doing the relays, some they'll get confused and put some down on the ground, and then it's going to congeal. Then it's not going to be sprinkled on the mizbech, and the korban current base of that chabur will be possible. Okay, so says Gemara. The Rabbi Yaakov Bar Hashem said, "Nitan koch bekolo shel Moshe." The Moshe's voice is given special amplification. And his voice went through the entire land of Egypt, the distance of 40 days, which says I'm sorry, that says it's 400 parsos. And so Rashi Chumash says by the Meraglim that they went 400 parsos in 40 days, because that's the shear of 40 days, 400 parsos, even though it's so much smaller than that. So Korban explains, so he was able to stagger them even in Eretz Mitzrayim. What did it say? In this geographical area, it's one kas. This geographical area, another kas. V'lo titma. And don't be astonished that the voice could travel so far. If dust, which does not travel, at Omar Yosef Mitzrayim, it became dust all over the entire land of Egypt. A voice which does travel, it certainly could travel throughout all of Egypt. It's like as Tzaddik says that the parameters of miracles too, and parameters of miracles are such that there are laws of miracles. So if you see that there's this concept of things expanding, so then that's a miracle which works in one place. It certainly can work in another place as well, where it's more likely to work, which is the expansiveness or the spreading, I guess, of the voice more than the expansiveness, spreading the voice throughout Mitzrayim. So we have a reflexive miracle here. It's a fascinating miracle for Paro. Omar believe Moshe, just like Moshe's voice got this koyach, kachni koch b'kol Paro. So the Paro's voice got koyach. And his voice went throughout Mitzrayim, the extent of those 400 parsos, the Mahal 40 days. My Omer, right, 10 parsos a day. That's the Gorm Sachim, Dapsai Gal, right? That's what you quoted before. So, my Omer kumutsu mitochami, and this reached throughout the country, so everybody knew they were emancipated. L'shava isam avdei Paro, until now you're slaves of Paro. Kamechatem avdei Hashem. So this is part and parcel of Paro's pronouncement, And both Shayu Omrim at that time, Am Yisrael said, Hallelujah, Avdei Hashem, V'lo Avdei Paro. Right, in other words, the Kormeir says we learned that from Kamvel Chatem Avdei Hashem, the Sefer the Kro L'chu Yibduas Hashem Kedaberchem. So that was expressed in this statement. From here on, from now, you're not Avdei Paro, you're Avdei Hashem. Tani, we learned. Tamid she'ei yesh l'nesachim, tokim l'nesachim. When they're nesachim, we do the kiyas on the when we bring the nesachim. Pesach and nesachim, Pesach and there's no nechas nesachim, tokim shechita, so you do the kiyas for the shechita. Dilma, it's a story. Rabbi Zira, Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Avina have a yisim, they were sitting. Amar Avina said, "Mipnei hamaramoin." Why would they have all the rows of silver, all the rows of gold? So it's because of the cheaters. So the Korban said, "Ne'emayim tam l'mastis in shura shkul kazin ne'ev shakonim rabim moskim ba'avoda me'kohen v'ad avoda v'yeshkul sheitol kohen es shel zav itin shel kazin koyma." If you're afraid that the kohen had a gold pitcher, he's going to substitute a silver pitcher instead. But now he can't get away with it because he's stuck in the row, and the row it's all either all gold or silver. So it's because Ramoin. Amar le Rabbi Yaakov bar Acha. Rabbi Yaakov said, "B'chol pumach." You're saying it with all your mouth? Says Kormei b'chol libachat omer davar zeh shechoshesh yignov kohanim. Are you really serious that you're thinking the kohanim are actually going to be dishonest, right? The Armalei Rabbi here said here it says Amar. That's the let's change it to Amor. So Armalei, but even it doesn't make a difference. It says, if you have to say with half a mouth, let him say with half a mouth. Because Asra B'Yim Rishayim B'Lu Yochanan said, Minei Ramoin. Because the Rabbi Yirmiyah said, Rabbi Yochanan said, it's Takim, Minei Ramoin, right? So I said my cousin offered the Yerushalmi, which gives a nice shot, which I don't know if it's partial shot, but it's cute. He says, the Bavli brings down the streets of Rim Neroim also and says, well, when you're misaking, you can still always take a vessel of gold, which is worth $100, switch for a vessel of gold, which is $200, and switch it for a vessel of gold, which is worth only $100. Share Ramos Loninalu. So that was his question. You really seriously consider that this is going to fix everything? So he says, okay, but it doesn't fix everything. It partially fixes it. At least it can't switch from gold to silver. He takes a step further. He says also that that's one pshat he gives. It's a nice pshat, which I think is Carvel pshat. But the other one he gives that, it says, the Gemara Shkolim says that they used to talk to the Kohen who went to do the Trumas Alishka, that they shouldn't be chayshed that he took from the Shkolim and put it in his mouth. Because he would be, so he'd have to talk him all the time, so they couldn't put it in his mouth. So there also, it's not a takana gemura, because he can only he can maybe put a shekel on half of his mouth. One side and talk with the other side of his mouth. So still, you fix whatever you can fix. Okay, it's a cute chap, but it's a little bit rachok clean up shot. But in any event, this I mentioned in the Mishnah, the Bavli's ultimate shot, which is not brought down here in Yerushalmi. I thought it was going to be here too, but it's not. That that it's because of Rova, it's Hiddur Mitzvah. Article does bring it down. That was looked nicer. It was more covered. And the Rambam Taka Hilchos Korban Pesach Paragraph Halacha Gimel says Lo Yimu Ravin. They didn't mix Kadesh Elohem Noi, so it would look very nice. Okay, Halacha Vav. Shalad Yisrael. Yisrael's entire the Shecht, as the Korban says, Yirteh Shashchidak Sheh B'Zorin K'Chol Karbanos. V'Kiba Kohen, the Kohen has to do Kabbalah Sadam, because then from there on it's Kabbalah's it's Mrs. Kohen. Nos chaver gives it to his friend. The chaver his friend to his friend. Mekabel, each coin takes the full pitcher of blood. Masgarekans gives back the empty pitcher, and they do relays. Kohen Akrovitz in his back, the one is close to his back. Zorka Zvika Chaskan Yisod, he does one Zvika opposite the Yisod of the Mizbech. Okay, so says Gemara. One pasuk says, B'chor shor, Kesef B'chor Eiz lo tifadeh kodesh heim. The kodesh can't be redeemed. As damam tizrok on Mizbech. You throw its blood on Mizbech. Kesef B'chor Omer v'dam ze b'checha yishafech on Mizbech Hashem Elokecha. When the pasuk says it's spilled on Mizbech. Im shvicha lama zrika, zrika shvan shvicha. Which one is it? Is it zrika? Is it shvicha? The Gemara, of course, gives an answer, but again, it's a long day and we're already up. This brings us to Mem Gimel Rav, so we'll leave the resolution of this question for tomorrow.